In 2012, archaeologists made a discovery that would shake the scientific community to its core. Deep in the remote islands northeast of New Guinea, they uncovered something that shouldn't exist: a 3,300-year-old tool made from a type of jade so rare, so impossible to find in that region that experts are still scratching their heads today. This mysterious artifact was crafted from jadeite that matches nothing found anywhere in the Pacific. The closest geological match? Mexico, thousands of miles away across an entire ocean. But this is just the beginning of New Guinea's impossible secrets. Scientists have been hiding the truth about this island for decades, and what they've discovered will completely change how you see our planet's formation. Because New Guinea isn't just any island. It's a geological anomaly that defies every rule we thought we knew about how land masses are created.
Most people think islands just sit there, static and unchanging. They're wrong. New Guinea is an island on the move, and it's been racing northward for millions of years in a collision course that will reshape the entire planet. Right now, as you watch this video, massive tectonic forces are pushing this landmass against the equator at a rate that terrifies geologists who actually understand what's happening. The official story tells us that New Guinea formed through normal geological processes. But dig deeper into the research and a far more disturbing picture emerges. This island was born from one of the most violent tectonic collisions in Earth's history, and the evidence suggests something far more dramatic than scientists are willing to admit publicly.
New Guinea and Australia were once part of a massive supercontinent called Gondwanaland that formed about 200 million years ago. When this ancient landmass began tearing itself apart, something unprecedented happened. The Australia-New Guinea tectonic plate didn't just drift randomly like the others. It shows a specific northward trajectory that seems almost intentional. Recent studies revealed that a hyperdiverse radiation of life forms originated in New Guinea's emerging mountains about 10 million years ago, suggesting that whatever created this island also triggered an explosion of new species that shouldn't have been possible under normal evolutionary timelines. The mountain ranges didn't just rise gradually, they erupted from the seafloor in what can only be described as a geological catastrophe.
But here's where it gets truly unsettling. The formation process created something called oblique subduction, a phenomenon so complex and violent that the Pacific Plate is literally being forced underneath New Guinea in ways that create mysterious microplates that appear and disappear without warning. These phantom landmasses have been detected by satellite imagery only to vanish from subsequent scans. The jade tool discovery isn't an isolated incident. Archaeological teams have been quietly uncovering artifacts across the region that completely rewrite the timeline of human civilization. 5,000-year-old Papua New Guinea artifacts have emerged from the highlands that settle long-standing archaeological arguments. But what those arguments were about and what these artifacts actually prove remains classified information that most researchers refuse to discuss on record.
Even more disturbing is what genetic analysis has revealed about the people of New Guinea. Ancient DNA studies showed that mysterious ancient humans, called Denisovans, left their genetic legacy in modern Pacific populations, giving them immune advantages that suggest these weren't random evolutionary developments. Someone or something was selectively breeding enhanced human traits in this specific region thousands of years before modern science claimed such genetic manipulation was possible. The isolation wasn't accidental either. New research shows centuries of genetic isolation that preserved these ancient modifications in ways that suggest deliberate quarantine protocols. The island's populations remain separated from outside genetic influence for far longer than natural geography would normally allow.
Then there's the volcanic evidence that mainstream geology desperately wants to ignore. The mid-17th century witnessed a catastrophic eruption that deposited ash across the entire New Guinea highlands and created legends of a time of darkness that lasted for months. Local oral traditions describe this period not as a natural disaster, but as punishment from forces beyond human understanding. The pyroclastic deposits from this eruption show blast patterns that don't match typical volcanic activity. The ash distribution suggests multiple, simultaneous detonations across the island chain, as if the entire region was deliberately triggered to create maximum devastation. What's more disturbing is that similar darkness legends appear in completely unrelated cultures across the Pacific, all dating to the exact same time period.
Archaeological teams working in the highlands have made discoveries that challenge everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations. Recent research has ended decades-long speculation about tool use and food processing in ways that suggest far more advanced societies than previously imagined. But the details of these discoveries remain locked away in academic journals that require special clearance to access. The tools and food processing methods discovered show technological sophistication that shouldn't have existed in isolated island populations. Metallurgy techniques, agricultural innovations, and construction methods that parallel developments in completely different parts of the world, all appearing simultaneously with no evidence of cultural exchange or communication between regions.
Underground mapping has revealed extensive tunnel networks beneath New Guinea's mountain ranges that appeared to be artificially constructed. These passages connect distant regions of the island through routes that would have required advanced engineering knowledge and tools that officially didn't exist in the time periods when they were supposedly built. But perhaps most terrifying of all is what's happening right now. Australia continues driving northward and will eventually collide with the Asian mainland, with various volcanic island chains being compressed in the process. This isn't some distant geological future. It's an active, ongoing collision that's accelerating.
Seismic monitoring stations across the region are detecting activity patterns that don't match natural tectonic movement. The compression forces are building in ways that suggest the entire island chain could experience simultaneous catastrophic events within our lifetime. Yet this information is being systematically suppressed from public awareness. Satellite imagery shows new land masses appearing and disappearing in the waters around New Guinea with alarming frequency. These temporary islands form and vanish so quickly that official geological surveys can't keep up with the changes. What's causing this rapid transformation of the seafloor remains officially unexplained.
The mineral deposits being discovered in newly exposed areas contain elements and compositions that don't match anything found elsewhere on Earth. Recent geological mapping reveals implications for mineral endowment that suggest resources of unprecedented value. Resources that certain organizations are working very hard to secure before public awareness spreads. Mining operations are being established in remote areas under heavy security extracting materials that aren't listed in any public geological surveys. The extracted substances are being transported under military escort to undisclosed facilities, raising questions about what exactly is being found beneath New Guinea's surface.
Local populations report strange phenomena in areas where new geological activity is occurring. Unusual magnetic readings, electromagnetic disturbances, and gravitational anomalies that equipment operators refuse to discuss. These effects seem to be intensifying as the tectonic collision accelerates. The truth is that New Guinea represents something far more significant than just an island formed by natural processes. It's a geological experiment on a massive scale, involving forces and influences that challenge our basic understanding of how planets form and evolve.
The evidence suggests that New Guinea's formation wasn't random. It was guided by intelligence that understood geological processes at a level we're only beginning to comprehend. The strategic placement, the deliberate isolation of genetic modifications, the coordinated timing of volcanic events, and the systematic concealment of archaeological discoveries all point to involvement from sources that mainstream science refuses to acknowledge. What we're witnessing in New Guinea isn't just geology, it's engineering on a planetary scale. The ongoing collision with Asia isn't an accident of tectonic drift, it's the final phase of a process that began millions of years ago with specific goals in mind. Goals that we're only now beginning to understand as the evidence becomes too overwhelming to ignore.
The question isn't whether New Guinea was artificially created. The evidence for that is already undeniable for anyone willing to look at the data objectively. The real question is who or what had the knowledge and capability to reshape entire continents, and why they chose this specific location for their most ambitious project. As the tectonic collision accelerates and more evidence surfaces from the depths, we're approaching a point where the truth about New Guinea's origins can no longer be suppressed. The island that defied every rule of natural formation is about to reveal secrets that will fundamentally change how humanity sees its place in the universe.
The jade tool was just the beginning. What lies beneath New Guinea's surface will expose the greatest cover-up in human history and prove that our planet's formation wasn't the random process we've been told to believe. The evidence is there for anyone brave enough to connect the pieces, if they're prepared for answers that will shatter everything they thought they knew about our world. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper than most people realize. In 2019, marine archaeologists conducting underwater surveys near New Guinea's coast made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Deep beneath the ocean floor, sonar readings detected what appeared to be massive geometric structures, perfectly aligned formations that stretch for miles in precise mathematical patterns.
These underwater anomalies aren't natural coral formations or random rock deposits. The sonar images reveal stepped pyramidal structures, linear arrangements, and circular patterns that could only have been created by intelligent design. Yet, according to official geological records, this area has been underwater for over 12,000 years, long before any known civilization had the technology to construct such massive undertakings. The discovery team was immediately sworn to secrecy, and all subsequent research in the area has been classified under national security protocols. The few leaked sonar images that surfaced online were quickly debunked as geological misinterpretations, but experts who analyzed the data privately confirm that these structures show clear evidence of artificial construction.
Even more disturbing is the electromagnetic signature these underwater formations emit. Deep-sea monitoring equipment detects regular energy pulses emanating from the structures in patterns that suggest some kind of dormant technology. The pulse frequency matches no known natural phenomenon, and the consistency of the signals indicates that whatever created these formations is still active deep beneath the ocean floor. Local fishing communities have reported strange phenomena in the waters above these structures for generations. Compasses spin wildly, electronic equipment malfunctions, and marine life exhibits unusual behavior patterns. Fish gather in massive schools directly above the structures, swimming in perfect geometric formations that mirror the patterns detected on sonar. Indigenous fishermen describe these areas as cursed waters, where their ancestors warned against venturing.
The Australian government has quietly established a restricted maritime zone around these coordinates, officially citing environmental protection as the reason for the exclusion. Military vessels patrol the area continuously, turning away any civilian boats that approach too closely. Satellite imagery shows permanent research vessels stationed above the structures, conducting operations that aren't listed in any public scientific databases. Recent declassified documents revealed that similar underwater structures have been detected near other Pacific islands, all following the same geometric patterns and electromagnetic signatures. The structures appear to form a network stretching across thousands of miles of ocean, with New Guinea serving as a central hub in this mysterious underwater grid.
The implications are staggering. If these structures are artificial, they represent evidence of a civilization capable of massive underwater construction projects thousands of years before recorded history. A civilization that understood electromagnetic technology, geological engineering, and had the resources to build on a scale that dwarfs modern construction capabilities. Carbon dating of sediment samples from around the structures yields impossible results. Some layers show ages of 50,000 years, while others test at only 3,000 years, despite being found at identical depths. The inconsistent dating suggests either massive geological disruptions that rearranged the seafloor, or the presence of materials that don't follow normal radioactive decay patterns. Deep drilling samples from the structure sites contain trace elements that don't match Earth's normal geological composition. Isotope analysis reveals metallic compounds with ratios that suggest either artificial creation or origin from sources beyond our solar system. These exotic materials are being quietly stockpiled by research teams, with samples reportedly sent to undisclosed facilities for analysis. The drilling operations have also uncovered something even more unsettling: chambers, hollow spaces within the structures that appear to be artificially created rooms or corridors. Robotic probes sent into these spaces transmit images for brief periods before losing signal in ways that suggest active interference rather than equipment failure.
The few images recovered from these underwater chambers show carved walls, geometric patterns, and what appear to be technological installations that are still functional after thousands of years underwater. The metal components show no signs of corrosion despite prolonged saltwater exposure, indicating materials science far beyond current human capabilities. Temperature readings from inside the structures register consistently higher than surrounding ocean water, suggesting internal energy sources that continue operating after millennia. Thermal imaging reveals complex internal networks of passages and chambers that extend deep into the ocean floor, far beyond what natural caves could explain. The most disturbing discovery came when acoustic mapping revealed that these chamber networks connect to the volcanic systems beneath New Guinea itself. The ancient structures appeared to be tapped directly into geothermal energy sources, using the planet's internal heat to power whatever technology lies dormant in the depths. This connection explains the mysterious volcanic activity patterns that have puzzled geologists for decades. The eruptions don't follow normal volcanic behavior because they're being influenced by artificial systems that can channel and direct geothermal energy. The time of darkness wasn't just a natural disaster. It was the result of this ancient technology being activated.
Analysis of the volcanic ash from historical eruptions shows trace signatures of the same exotic elements found in the underwater structures. The eruptions weren't random events, but coordinated releases of energy from a network that spans the entire region. Someone or something has been using New Guinea's volcanic system as a planetary engineering tool for thousands of years. The genetic modifications found in local populations make perfect sense when viewed in this context. The isolation wasn't natural. It was maintained by whoever controlled this underwater network. The enhanced immune systems and unique DNA markers represent deliberate genetic engineering projects carried out by a civilization that understood biology at the molecular level. Recent genetic analysis has revealed even more startling evidence. DNA samples from the most isolated New Guinea populations contain gene sequences that don't match any known human lineage. These genetic markers appear to be artificial insertions, coded information embedded in human chromosomes, like a biological hard drive storing data for future retrieval. The implications are clear. New Guinea has been the site of genetic experimentation on a massive scale, with human populations serving as living laboratories for testing biological modifications. But the genetic modifications weren't random experiments. The enhanced traits all serve specific purposes: resistance to certain diseases, improved cognitive function in mathematical processing, enhanced sensory perception, and, most importantly, genetic markers that act like identification codes. These populations were tagged and tracked by whoever was conducting these experiments. Current DNA analysis reveals that similar genetic markers are now appearing in populations far beyond New Guinea, spreading through normal reproduction and migration. The experimental genes are gradually integrating into the broader human gene pool, suggesting that whatever project was begun thousands of years ago
is now entering its final phase.
The Australian government's recent investment in genetic research facilities near New Guinea isn't coincidental. They're monitoring the spread of these modified genes and collecting data on how the ancient genetic modifications interact with modern human populations. The research is being conducted under strict military oversight, with results classified at the highest security levels. What's most alarming is that the genetic modifications appear to be activating. People carrying these ancient gene sequences are reporting enhanced abilities, improved pattern recognition, increased resistance to radiation exposure, and heightened sensitivity to electromagnetic fields. These aren't random evolutionary developments. They're programmed responses triggered by environmental changes.
The environmental triggers appear to be connected to the increasing volcanic and seismic activity in the New Guinea region. As the tectonic collision accelerates and the underwater network becomes more active, people carrying the modified genes are experiencing physiological changes that seem designed to help them survive whatever's coming next. Intelligence agencies have been quietly monitoring individuals with these genetic markers, tracking their locations and documenting their enhanced abilities. Special recruitment programs target people from New Guinea backgrounds for positions in sensitive research and military operations, taking advantage of their unique genetic advantages while keeping them under close surveillance.
The pattern suggests preparation for a major event, something that will require enhanced human capabilities to survive. The ancient civilization that created the underwater network wasn't just experimenting with genetics for curiosity. They were preparing humanity for a future catastrophe that they knew was coming. All the evidence points to the same terrifying conclusion. The tectonic collision that's currently accelerating isn't a natural geological process. It's the trigger event for a planetary transformation that was planned thousands of years ago. New Guinea isn't just moving toward Asia by accident, it's being guided there by the same intelligence that created the underwater network.
The collision will activate dormant systems across the entire Pacific region, triggering coordinated geological events that will reshape the planet's surface. The genetically modified populations are the insurance policy, enhanced humans designed to survive and rebuild after the catastrophic changes are complete. The jade tool, the volcanic eruptions, the genetic modifications, the underwater structures, they're all components of a master plan that spans millennia. New Guinea is ground zero for the most ambitious planetary engineering project in human history, and we're living through its final activation sequence. What happens next will determine whether humanity emerges from this transformation stronger and more capable, or whether we become extinct like the countless species that have disappeared from New Guinea's fossil record. The ancient planners left us the tools to survive, but only if we're smart enough to recognize what they built and brave enough to use it. The countdown has already begun, and there's no stopping what's coming. The only question is whether humanity is ready for the truth about what New Guinea really represents and what will become when the transformation is finally complete.